Okay, we're just going to give it a second while people jump on. Hope everyone is having a good day. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on AI and the future of real estate. My name is Jennifer Von Pullman, and I'm the Senior Director of Content PR here at ATTOM, and I'll be the host for this webinar. I am pleased to introduce today's industry experts. We have Todd Teta, Chief Product and Technology Officer for ATTOM, Kamal Shaik with Real, Leonardo Giacomet with Restb.ai. Now, before we begin, I want to go over some items that will be discussed in today's webinar. I will provide a brief introduction to ATTOM, and then I'll hand over to Kamal and Leonardo, who will offer a brief overview of their respective companies as well. Then from there, I'll be asking various questions to our experts on topics related to AI and how it will impact the real estate industry. Now, please feel free to submit your questions throughout the presentation through the question box. We'll try our best to answer any questions, but if we need more time or we just think that it'll be better offline, we will definitely respond via email as soon as possible. And also just a reminder, you will be receiving a copy of this webinar the following business day. So now ATTOM is your one-stop shop for premium property data with flexible delivery solutions. Our mission is to power real estate transparency and to fuel innovation across various industries with the most comprehensive property data. Now, here you can see a better picture of all the various data products that ATTOM offers. This is the ATTOM table of data elements, and it really shows how we organize our data into 11 main categories. Our data is continuously expanding to offer new data sets so that we can continue to offer that one-stop data shop. Now, our data is not one size fits all. We have flexible delivery options that give you a choice when it comes to how you consume the data and also, how much data you wish to consume. We definitely tailor our solutions to meet the challenges and opportunities in your industry and for your specific objectives. So now, with that, I would like to pass it over to Kamal with Real to give a brief overview of his company.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm representing Real here. So just a quick update. Our mission is to connect and empower the real estate community through technology. What I mean here is real estate community can be an agent, buyer, seller, generally people who are browsing through the properties because of their self-interest, or there can be different other stakeholders who are in horizontal, vertical, verticals of PropTech, that is insurance or the utilities or maintenance, appraisals, this kind of thing. So in our near term, we are mainly focusing agents, buyers, sellers, and regular PropTech users who are interested in buying or selling the properties kind of thing. So what Real is doing, Real is trying to empower them with AI-centric tools and technologies behind the scenes. Real got so many important features. If I start listing, it may go like 10 to 15 key features, but today I'm going to focus on 4 key features just to give a high-level overview of what Real is doing. Jennifer, can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So discoverability, basically, like users can use the right keywords and they can try to search around our app to find the right properties for them. And then we do have Real contains social networking kind of DNA. So once they discover the property, they can connect with the right agent who listed that property and they can start communicating with them. That is one piece of the puzzle here. Then the next one is create. People can create their listings, post their listings. We do have building a story, creating a reel. They can post videos. They can create real moments related to the property. That makes the property more, interesting, and it will create moments, can create curiosity, and it can give the list of nearby schools, parks, those kind of things, hiking trail, and all that stuff. So we have very interesting features around creation and presenting the content from either buyer or seller or on the agent perspective kind of thing. On the connecting side, just like in social networking, stakeholders can follow, like, connect, chat. They can have multi-threading communication with multiple probable buyers, kind of thing from agent point of view. Access is basically like we do have huge database with the list of properties across US. Our main focused area is US region. We do have a lot of listed properties. Users can have access to all these properties and they can explore based on their interest, based on their budgets, based on their demographic needs. The access can be kind of enabled and they can explore all those properties and the content, and they can make wise decision by comparing different varieties of content and the listing and the pricing kind of things. So these are the high level focused areas about Real. So the bottom line is we want the agent, buyer and seller have their time productively spent, and they are getting all the related, relevant and important content so that they can make wise and important decisions in a shortest period of time by leveraging AI and data in the backend kind of thing. So that's about Real. It is available in Android apps, Android platform, as well as on iOS. So please feel free to try those features. Thank you, Jennifer, and hand it over to Leandro.
Thank you, Kamal. I am Leonardo. I'm with Restb.ai. Restb.ai is AI vision for real estate. So our AI is interpreting the images and extracting features out of those images or a collection of those images. So to put it more in context, imagine you had the time to visit all the properties that are available in your market today. That is impossible for a human, but for us, it's possible. We can do it. Our AI is trained to detect any feature or concept that is reliably understood from a photo, and we can extract that out and let you analyze it in a structured fashion. So, for example, we can detect the type of photo. So this photo is the room type is a living room. We can say, furthermore, this living room has a fireplace, has hardwood floors, has natural light and beam ceilings. And on top of that, we can score the whole property and the photo, understand it is in excellent condition. It's a good quality property, and so on and so forth. This adds a huge dictionary of data that before was inexistent. We were launched in 2015. So we've been at it for about 8 years. We process over a billion images a month, and we are present in more than 35 countries, though our focus is America, with maybe 70+% of our business. We're spending most of our time. And we provide our solutions on the background as an infrastructure for the consumer apps or consumer solutions that you might be familiar in all the areas of the value chain, of the real estate value chain. So be it before purchase, during the purchase, or post-purchase, we work with MLSs, MLS vendors, portals, brokerages, an investor market, AVMs, inspections, insurance. Anywhere that has property images, we can work together to make those images work for you instead of just sitting there as unused assets.
Great. Well, thank you, Leonardo, and thank you, Kamal. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't know there was another one there. All right, so Q&A. So the first question is, how will AI change the real estate industry? You want to jump in? Okay.
I can jump in on this one. So I think about three main trends that we're keeping an eye on. Obviously, what Kamal and Leonardo's teams are doing is a key piece of what's happening in the industry, but the other areas that we keep an eye on are one, automation in the transaction process. So we're expecting, and really, obviously it's happening now, but I think this is going to be more and more of what we see is automation in the transaction process, whether that be automating manual tasks, things that are done manually today, either by the agent, a title rep, escrow officer, or the consumer, and just automating that in some very efficient way. You know, and in some cases eliminating tasks altogether because it's fully automated. The second trend that I think is going to be incredibly important, and we're seeing this in software development platforms, we're seeing it in sales platforms, even HR platforms, and that's the idea of a co-pilot assisting a professional, in this case a real estate agent, to do their job. You know, you might see this as what's happening with OpenAI and their ChatGPT tool, which is more of a generic, you know, oriented chat interface. But think of that, you know, embedded in your actual day-to-day work system that you use, your system of record, like a CRM or a transaction management. And it being just embedded with your day-to-day life and trained specifically on real estate, trained maybe on your business or your customers, and helping to get the deal done. So, and then I'll leave it to Kamal and Leonardo to talk about some of the other areas. But those are the two. And then again, with the content and consumer experience, I think are key.
Yeah, I agree with you, Todd. Leandro, you want to go next?
Yeah, no, I agree completely with Todd on the automation and you know, the personalization of the experience. And I would add one more, which is the data aspect of real estate. On the efficiency, I mean, Todd already, the automation is possible with AI is incredible, either automating repetitive tasks or at least highlighting items for key review instead of having to look through thousands of checkboxes. And the personalization of the experience, I think, you know, one example, it's very, very simple, but we like it a lot here, is personalizing what image do you want to show to your client, right? Do they prefer to see the kitchen, or are they more interested in the outdoor patio? Prioritizing those information to each client is very powerful. So we really think there's, you know, a plethora of the other use cases there. And lastly, on data, AI can bridge a lot of inconsistencies that you might have in public records and MLS, because AI can generate data at scale, be it textual like with GPT, but also in our case, computer vision, understanding images and extracting features that before were either too troublesome to extract or couldn't be consistent enough across the whole country. So this is the three areas I think we would really impact with AI.
Yeah, thank you, Leandro. A couple of points from my end. Yeah, AI, fundamentally, like I hear a lot, like AI is going to replace agents' work or some, you know, some of the areas work kind of thing. Actually, AI will not replace agents, but it empowers and helps them to be more, you know, efficient and successful by giving several data points, whether on the PropTech side or the, you know, different aspects, as Leandro mentioned, on the visualization side, as Todd mentioned. On the CRM side, I mean, it can integrate several, you know, individual, parallel, or silo processes into one end-to-end kind of solution. So AI got that power. And then if you are looking at the complete life cycle of PropTech industry, there are several, like buying, selling, listing, reachability, relativity, striking a deal, entering into the contract, purchase, creating the purchase order, loan applications, then home inspections, insurance, appraisals, utilities, maintenance. So these are all part of it. So AI can have the ability, potential to grow all into all these areas, so that, you know, the time spent by each of these stakeholders is kind of minimized, and they're all becoming more productive and serving the services and the products at a faster pace kind of thing. So that's what AI is going to do in coming days. It's, another small example, assume a robo is standing at the door of a, you know, open house and, you know, showcasing in the house and collecting the right information from the customer, then feeding into AI, having that communication going on, are all possibilities, because we are seeing restaurants having some robo serving as well in these days. So yeah, those are my couple of points. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so the next question we have is, how can AI technologies be leveraged to enhance the accuracy and efficiency of property data collection and analysis?
I can take this one. We work with a few companies in this space. I think a simple one is streamlining and improving the data collection by automating the whole feature extraction. So instead of having to manually type or find out different aspects of the property, we can interpret the photos that you already take and that already exist of the property, and automatically pre-fill either a report or a listing. All that in a matter of instance. And not only do we, add the information that already exists on the form, we can go further than that, because there is a limit to how much a human can add in a process like that, of how much time you can spend on a listing or on a property. But AI can go further, and you can increase and evolve the algorithms and the models and provide more and more information with the same time, which is a couple of seconds. So it's a very powerful tool that can really make it more efficient for property data collection, and make it so we spend more time with the clients rather than just collecting data.
Yeah, I can go next. Thank you, Leandro. AI can like basically when AI works, it deals with a lot of high volume, high velocity data, and what matters is whether that particular data is significant in predicting something, is the data is high quality. So AI got the capabilities to eliminate insignificant data that is going to damage the accuracy of the prediction, and the non-quality data that again dampers the test training process of the data, kind of thing. So that way it can foolproof certain mistakes that can happen at data lake level, big data level, and all that stuff, so that it can feed clean and accurate and significant data that actually gives more accuracy in predicting, forecasting certain things. So we have seen in the past pricing models failing in PropTech industry, but having AI more integrated, playing a key role in this, and also feeding macroeconomic data and financial aspects data, such as now we see mortgage rates, how they are spiking. And there are a lot of macro and microeconomic data. If we feed that into this kind of prediction model based on the use case we are supporting, whether it is a pricing or the sales or the market trends, AI can help to give more accurate, enhanced experience through its capabilities. Over to you.
Yeah, maybe just one additional point, because obviously we deal with a lot of property data today that doesn't necessarily come from on the ground truth. So what I think of this advancement with AI is from the standpoint of ground truth data, whether that's what Leonardo talked about with appraisers, collecting data, or real estate agents doing, AI assisted floor plans, or IoT devices like sensors collecting information on operations. Those, to me, are really rich ground truth data that is difficult to collect today. And to Kamal's point, also sometimes low quality when it's not ground truth data. So I think that's the big lift we'll see here, is around things that are more easily collected, more easily generalized, meaning, if you only have information on 100 houses in an area, can we make some extrapolations to all houses in that area based on this ground truth data, and using AI to, sort of make that generalization. So that's where I see it coming from, Jennifer. And, I think it's a huge opportunity for both the consumers and businesses in this space. So.
Yeah, great. Okay, so AI technology is evolving so fast. How do you keep up with the latest research and trends?
Why don't you start with that, Kamal?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start on this. Yeah, it's definitely a challenging aspect of keeping up with so many trends going on, so many startups involved, giving a lot of interesting features using AI and all. Yeah, so from my personal perspective, I am I'm part of a lot of AML discussion forums, groups. There are LinkedIn-based groups. There are forum-based groups, and also obviously I do attend a lot of webinars related to Google inventions or Microsoft involvement on the AI, AWS involvement in AI, their new tools and tech kind of thing. So basically, always educating myself in terms of what is going on in the AI world, and also like trying to understand how best I can use those kind of features, tools, technologies that are available in the market for the advantage of my organization in the prop tech industry. In some cases, just by reading, by going through, by learning the technology, it is not possible to judge whether this is going to give a good outcome for our needs. Sometimes based on the use case, I end up doing a POC and seeing whether it is really adding value for our data kind of. Some tools may be very generic, like even ChatGPT. It is generic. It is not prop tech centric. So it requires a lot of research and POC level work as well to rule out something is useful and also something is not useful kind of thing. So yeah, that's my approach in terms of keeping up with AI trends and tools.
Totally. What Kamal just mentioned there of doing POCs and understanding how the technologies can be applied, we agree a lot with that. Keeping up with the industry itself is a gigantic challenge. So doing what Kamal suggested is also what we do. We work with our clients to understand how the technology can solve their problem rather than just being a new technology. Because I think just as important, which Kamal alluded to, just as important as knowing what they can do is knowing the limitations of the tools and how far we can take it to actually improve the experience for the products of our clients.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same lane here. For me, it's a challenge not to be tech led on this one, and given my product and technology role, I tend to try to feed both sides of it. But I do read a number of the key tech blogs that are out there, try to keep up on that at least weekly. Google, OpenAI, a couple others on a site called Medium. And then, one of the things we tend to learn from is customers and vendors pretty heavily. Particularly on the vendor side, I like to get a demo right now of at least 1 or 2 products a week. It's really a nice way to learn what's going on in the industry, and it's free other than your time. And that's both on the large end. There's a lot of investment at the large scale enterprise companies, the big tech companies like Salesforce and Microsoft. But they're not necessarily doing the most interesting stuff, and it's certainly not vertical to real estate. So I like to talk to smaller product companies that are doing things maybe vertical in the real estate space or horizontal in a particular area, whether that's document data extraction or human in the loop automation, things like that. So I try to mix it up there.
Great. Okay, so let's see. How are industry leaders leveraging human interaction with AI to ensure the consumer's best interests are top of mind?
Yeah, so I'll let you guys cover some of the consumer component because of your core business focuses there. But I think the human interaction on the agent side, you talk about some of the automation we talked about earlier. I think there's going to be a balance of how much automation is in place versus what the consumer really needs and wants. But I think I mentioned human in the loop systems before. We're starting to see a lot of that in title and escrow, where companies are automating a lot of the steps in there using AI. And then the other area I'd point out is maybe on triaging consumers. So this is nothing specific to real estate, but triaging consumer needs and requests, whether that's an online chatbot or even just the routing internally, a learning system that is more intelligent about routing. I think those drive good and better consumer experiences. Leonardo, what are your thoughts on the real estate side, though, specifically?
Yeah, we think AI is here to help the existing humans, not to replace them. And I think to your point, anything that the AI can do to make the appraiser or the agents more efficient, that frees them more time, is on the consumer's best interest. That allows them to provide the consumer with a better experience, a more accurate appraisal. And all those things are ultimately better for the consumer. And that's, I think, our stance here is that we are making the consumer have more quality time with the profession that is assisting them in those situations.
Yeah, thank you, Leandro. Thank you, Todd. I agree with your points here, Todd, especially in some of the generic areas and also like on the customer support chatbots. Those areas, I think those are the early adopters of AI to give instant possible solutions for the commonly asked questions kind of thing. Then it can enhance into more answering more complex questions. That doesn't mean that it is eliminating complete support related activity or the manual effort from the backend, but it is actually enhancing their knowledge base. At the same time, it is helping them to respond as soon as possible, because sometime in the middle of the night, support person may not be available, but AI can help the customer to keep going with their discoverability and research and those kind of things. Yeah, obviously, as mentioned earlier, agents can be empowered with AI tools and technologies so that they can best serve. And also, as Leandro mentioned, we are trying to reduce the time spent on specific activities using AI so that they are more productive and more efficient and faster in reaching to that conclusion or the solving their problem or having a solution kind of thing. Yeah, thank you. That's about my take, Jennifer.
Great, thanks so much. Very insightful so far. Okay, so what potential challenges could arise from the use of AI in real estate, particularly related to biases and algorithms?
So Jennifer, I think I'll take this one. There is a big concern with historical bias in the industry, but I think it's good to distinguish that it's not everything, or not all AI is the same. While that may happen with AVMs that use AI to predict future home prices based on past sales data that have been perhaps biased. That is not necessarily true for all types of technologies, specifically computer vision. For example, in computer vision, we train the models with only the images without necessarily knowledge of the sales price or past data besides the images. And this can help actually be a tool against the bias, identifying when an appraisal might have been under or overvalued despite its condition and quality, which are very subjective areas of an appraisal today. And on top of that, we've built models that directly address biases in the sense that we identify if the photos of an appraisal or a listing include, say, people, photos of families, religious symbols, and we can highlight that and bring that forward and say, hey, this appraisal includes a photo that might make it biased. So take a second look, have somebody else check it to ensure that these biases are on check or at least been noticed. And on top of that, to address our own biases, we audit our data sets periodically to ensure that factors outside of the model's objectives aren't contaminating our models into the scoring models or the features models at all.
All right,
Okay.
I can go next. Yeah, thank you, Leandro. Yeah, I agree with Leandro in terms of like without knowing the pricing and the impacts on the buyer side or seller side kind of thing on the vision related AI, valuation related and the appraisal related. From real point of view, see, we do deal with a lot of listing information, and that can be pricing and all that stuff. So a bias in the algorithm generally can cause a lot of. So you have seen some prop tech industries giving the estimated price range or the lower end and the higher end, and I have seen huge variation, those kind of things happening there. And also some of them, because of this bias, actually failed in terms of predicting the most accurate pricing and all. So making sure these biases are covered, not there, I mean, eliminated completely based. So generally bias can happen even starting from the data that we are feeding into the algorithm kind of thing. So if the data itself is having a skew or not high quality data, having a lot of insignificant variables that can actually dilute the prediction and all that stuff. So making sure the root cause is identified for the bias. And if the root cause is mainly the data that we are feeding into the model, make sure that data is corrected and high quality. If required, use AI as well in terms of validating, making sure the right data is coming into the model for the purpose of supporting that use case. At the same time, I think I mentioned earlier as well, if it is related to pricing and all, make sure all the financial data, ground truth data, and also like microeconomic data is also getting fed into the algorithm so that this bias is kind of eliminated. So yeah, that's my take. Todd, over to you. Please share your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only other point I'd probably make here is we can't forget that there's bias in humans too. And the AI that you might train off of human created data, think about like an AVM with an appraisal data set going into it, would have some inherent bias from the human appraisers that were doing that. I think so. There's the flip side, which is AI can also be a gut check or check and balance, I should say, on what the human appraiser in this case might create. So I think there's kind of two sides to this coin around bias, making sure that that whatever we're developing and creating from a data standpoint or an outcome standpoint through AI is both battle tested with auditing and validation over time by humans and vice versa. So I think that's what we'll see as a hybrid model here, where it's not going to be an either or. We're going to fully replace humans with algorithms, or we're going to fully leverage AI, or excuse me, fully throw out AI because of bias. So that's my only add, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now, also kind of to that point, what potential challenges could arise from the use of AI in real estate concerning data privacy concerns?
Yeah, maybe I'll start with this one. This is maybe near and dear to my heart because we've been spending a lot of time on what we want to do as a data company around this and around privacy with data going into models. That this is both an internal question and one we think about for our customers that leverage our data to build models. And that's what are we okay with given the regulatory environment? I think there's a consumer component to it, which is not wanting to leverage, my data, whether that's following, European or California or any other state in the U.S. Guidelines around how you can use personal information. We want to make sure we observe that. We want to make sure our customers observe that. And then I think the regulatory environment's changing. You're starting to see some guidance, particularly from the EU, on consumer data being used in training a model, not just in running an AI model, but actually in training it. Very similar to how you can opt out today on your data being on a website or being used in a business. You now can elect, or the guidance is that you can elect to not have your data get used in training a model. So it's making the problem very complex for companies who are building AI and for consumers who are getting more and more concerned about it. So So those are some of the key things. I guess, Kamal, what are your thoughts on this one?
I completely agree with you, Todd. User information data privacy is the highest priority at any given point of time. But definitely, as you said, it will introduce a few challenges in terms of processing and protecting the data, making sure if based on like European like GDPR or California-based CCPA, these kind of regulations, we should always be compliant about it. And if there is a user opt-out, we have to make sure that data is getting deleted from all the sources of the AI platform kind of thing. So we generally, like from real kind of product point of view, we created certain layers to deal with this and actually identify the user opt-outs and identify the people who are not interested to participate in this, and then making sure their data is not part of this AI journey. But that adds overhead, in terms of processing and handling the data kind of thing. But that is fine with us. So we do have those checks and balances in place to make sure we are compliant based on the government regulatory needs. Yeah. Leandro, please share your thoughts.
Yeah, this is a bit out of our scope here at Restb. We deal very little with consumer data, so that's a bit outside. But on the more broad spectrum of data, it is a massive concern, the privacy issue. So it's very important to be transparent, as Kamal pointed out, to let you opt out, understand when you are or are not part of the AI training or the data that will be used, and outlining what is the actual use case of that data. And I think this is also another area where AI can help improve data privacy, improve privacy, the same as in bias. In the specific case of computer vision, we do it with identifying contact details and photos of people and automatically blur them. There's probably same use case you could do it with an LLM, checking, I don't know, be it emails or messages. So I think there's challenges with the data, but there's also a lot of things that AI can help to improve privacy for the consumers in the long term.
Definitely. Okay, so let's go on. Let's see. User experience is a key differentiator in today's digital landscape. Can you share some specific ways that you are leveraging AI to enhance the user experience? And I'll let Kamal, if you want to start that one off.
Yeah, I'll start with that. So, so basically, and though the data is playing a lot of backend activity in terms of whether it is training the AI models using the huge amount of data and all, but on the real UI UX side, there are a lot of feed comes from the backend data that actually helps the browsing experience more productive, and they spend less time and get more related important content kind of thing. So basically what AI can do to improve the user experience, it can actually customize the data, the news feed or the listings feed, or the related data, and also rank them in the order, right? So that they can, it actually suits their needs and requirements kind of thing. Also, AI can help in terms of clustering, segmenting the data that actually passes to the UI UX. That actually improves the overall UI UX experience in terms of having all the correct right data points at the fingertips. Obviously, UI UX is definitely plays a key role in terms of how it is presented, but what is presented, in what order it is presented, how much relativity it contains, is it helping the users to discover easily what they want? Those aspects are actually influenced by AI algorithms in the backend that actually enhances the UI UX experience from our organization point of view. Leandro, over to you, yeah, please.
I love the examples you mentioned. These are all things that we really enjoy here, is when AI is being used in the background, transparent. The user might not even understand that it's being used, but it's bringing them the most relevant results and giving them a better experience in general. In our case, the use case we like a lot is for new listing alerts. Say you have a user that is looking for a home and specifically will be notified whenever a new home enters the market. We work with clients that measure how long a user interacts with photos, and which gives them the best results, which gives them best click-through, and if they spend more time with kitchen photos or more times looking at pool photos and so on and so forth. And based on that information, they can now say for that specific user, I want to prioritize showing pictures of the kitchen first rather than the exterior of the property. And then automatically the user will see the photo that is most relevant to them. And that small tweak that might be transparent, you might not notice it, results in a click-through rate that more than doubles compared to before. And I think this is great because it uses AI in the background to understand, what's the image, all the complicated things, and also what is the best image, but also which image do you want to show to that specific user. I think that's the whole magic of AI, is just changing completely the experience without you even noticing.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, Todd, I'll let you kick off the next question. How might AI be used to analyze and mitigate risk in real estate investments and transactions?
Yeah, sure. We've talked a lot about the analyze side of this, analysis side, so far today. I think, property risk, market risk, valuations, rehabs, replacement costs, those are all areas that, in my mind, go into the analysis bucket. And we have clients doing all of the above, plus a lot more, including the companies that we have with us today. Where I see less activity is on risk mitigation, particularly in residential. There's some level of portfolio monitoring that we see out there using AI, and that's, kind of investment risk, if you will, or book risk. But there's a couple areas that I see leading on the on the commercial side that are ahead of residential, but we expect to kind of peak into residential here soon. And that's predicting things like maintenance needs on homes, roof condition and monitoring of that. Looking at patterns in some of those sensors I was talking about earlier. And then, of course, the imagery and video side and how that can start playing a role. I think of a future where, video of your home, Restb could analyze that video ideally in the future and determine maintenance issues that are just visible in the content. So I think that's one area. And then the other one would be on security. I think multifamily properties here, again, are really leading the way on security with object detection on video and risk detection on video, facial recognition, etc. Everybody's got a Ring, or a lot of people, I should say, have Ring cameras or some other, personal security system, but nobody's really surfaced that data for a residential real estate use case, and I think that'll come. So again, security and maintenance to me are key areas for mitigating risk.
Kamal, did you have any?
Yeah, completely agree with Todd in terms of security and the maintenance aspect. Predicting something based on the data collected, this is going to happen, like whether it is a refrigerator or washer dryer. I mean, there will be a lot of AI integration coming into through small chips integrated with these devices, and that data is kind of constantly monitored, and some predictions are happening, alerts are going to the customers, kind of thing. This is basically avoiding some kind of risk, that predicting certain probability of happening a kind of event that is risky, and alerting those customers so that they can prevent it instead of actually fixing it after it happened, kind of thing. So I agree with Todd in his thoughts in terms of where it is heading. From real point of view, we are not too much into the maintenance or the utilities aspect, but we are more towards listing and selling. From this point of view, we will be mainly monitoring and tracking any fraudulent transactions and any fraudulent events that are happening within this listing, within the, getting into the contingent, within the profiles that are actually placed, whether it is an agent or a buyer, is a bot actually doing something to, disrupt the activity kind of thing. So from real point of view, we do have a lot of checks and balances in terms of making sure all the activity that is happening within our app is not fraudulent. It is actually happening through verified agents or verified users, those kind of things. So we do use AI in terms of identifying this kind of any out of the ordinary patterns that are happening, and making sure they are captured before they damage the activity or influences any fraudulent activity kind of thing. That's from my end. Leandro, please share your thoughts.
Yeah, I think I think you brought a lot of use cases, and just to touch on the video, we already analyze home videos for some clients, Todd. So not on the Ring camera, but video tours and things of the sort. So that's already here. But I think the way we can use to mitigate and analyze the risk is what Todd mentioned a couple of questions before about having ground truth data and creating ground truth data. Some data just today doesn't exist, or it's either manually created at the time we're looking for a property, specifically condition and quality, are very much blind spots for a lot of EVMs, or the majority of the EVMs. And this can, AI can bring it in a consistent and granular scoring, and really help understand if it's under or overvaluated. Or on top of that, we work with clients that use it to predict the after repair value, the ARV, with a lot more certainty, considering the condition and quality of before and after the renovations. And we also work with institutional investors that use it to, when they have a specific buy box criteria, maybe they don't want to invest in a property that has visible power lines, or it needs some repairs, or only will process or will buy properties that are rent ready. All of those information hard to find, requires manual review. Today that can be found at scale using technologies, AI, and including computer vision. And that gives the analysts more time understanding the actual investment rather than understanding if a property fits or not in their own buy box.
Okay. Now let's see. Now to the next question, Leonardo, I'm going to kick this one off to you first. What opportunities might AI create for startups and entrepreneurs looking to innovate within the real estate sector?
Yeah. So I think there's no limits to how much they could innovate in the real estate sector. And we're always surprised by the ideas or use cases that clients use to create with our own data. And that's, I think, our biggest goal here, is to create data sets that didn't exist before, that are completely new. And this, in turn, unlocks, enables things that just weren't possible before. And I think this is very magical about the AI, that things that you would think it weren't possible, now they are possible at scale, in a scale that is completely above what would you think. So not thousands of humans, you would have AI go through all the properties you want to check, and have a summary of the whole thing, for example. So I think to anybody that's looking to innovate in the real estate sector, I would say just don't look at the problems that exist as being unsolvable. Think of them more as like how have they changed? How do the recent technologies have changed the approaches to that problem? So what can now be approached differently because maybe a ChatGPT type of technology exists, or computer vision, or any other type of AI, and try to look from that angle rather than the other way around, rather than looking first at the technology.
Kamal, do you want to share your... Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Leandro. Completely agree with you. Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities in the complete life cycle of PropTech, from inception to closing. And also even after closing, we do have a lot of activity, right? Maintenance and the payments and the insurance and making sure the property is protected and all that stuff. Going back to Todd's point, like a ring security system and all that. So if you look at like from starting listing to getting into contract, contingent, going for loan, appraisal, title closing. If you look at this journey, there are so many different companies involved, different stakeholders involved, different persona involved, kind of thing. So their duties and responsibilities are, all contributing towards completing this journey of a customer who is buying a home and then getting into the maintenance mode, kind of thing. Or later selling the home again, he'll come back with this same journey. So if we look with like with close, if we get deeper into each of these areas, so there are a lot of potential, a lot of scope AI startups can position themselves anywhere in this above mentioned, the earlier mentioned activities to position themselves and collect the right information, implement AI solution, automate the process, reduce the process taking time, increase the accuracy, reduce the risk of failure, or identify fraudulent activities elimination. So there are a lot of opportunities in this complete spectrum of real estate buying and selling. We will definitely see a lot of companies coming into the picture, helping, whether it is from presenting the property point of view or closing or insurance appraisal and all that. I agree with Leandro on that front. Todd, please share your thoughts in addition to what we have shared in this area.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously work with a lot of startups and nascent businesses in the space to fuel kind of the Intel Inside concept that Jennifer was talking about at the very beginning. And I mean, I'm surprised every day just how much there is happening in this space. We're in a bit of a flat market, down market, whatever you want to call it, and yet this particular technology is getting a significant amount of airtime, headline, and actual innovation going on. So sometimes these tech, large tech solutions coming into a vertical market like real estate, fall flat and they're just more buzz than anything. But I think in this particular area, there's really meaningful innovation going on, and it may not become consumer facing in the next year in this market. This is stuff that's, I think, groundwork getting laid for the next 5 to 10 years of innovation in our space. So that's what excites me about it, and it's a real democratic environment, if you will, in that small companies can compete with some of this technology now that maybe they weren't able to before.
Okay, great. Now we're coming up to our last question. I just want to let you know we only have a few minutes left for this, so time flies. So hopefully we can keep these to a little bit of a minimum. The last question is, what are some examples in which property data is being utilized by companies in the real estate space to create AI-powered solutions or tools?
Yeah, I'll start on this. Just keep it real brief. One, obviously, we talked about this idea of chat assistance. We see that's happening already with some of our clients, ones that are well trained in the space and on property and community level information. So we'll see more of that. I think one other real interesting one that I like is a company that's building a very localized and highly current. It's an extremely current home price index, almost real time. You think about how stocks are valued real time every minute. Real estate's not quite that interesting yet, but we're seeing it down to the day now. In a lot of major metropolitan areas, this is being done. So That one's particularly interesting to me. Leonardo, what are you guys seeing out there?
Yeah, to keep it very brief, I think 2 use cases that are being used today is on the listing creation. I'm automating the listing creation. I mentioned before, pre-populating tons of features, but also creating a listing description automatically and letting the agent just curate from that. I think that's very powerful. Instead of spending 1 hour typing things out, the agent can be a curator and understanding if the description is accurate, is adequate for that specific public that is trying to reach. And the other is automated marketing. Similar to before, we have clients that use our technology to create brochures automatically that already place the relevant pictures in the relevant positions, generate description of the images in real time, instead of trying to figure out which is the best photo to put in each part of the brochure. It already comes with the most likely the best photo of the kitchen, the best photo of the pool, the best photo of the outdoor space, and the description, say, look at this beautiful pool with an in-ground pool that has an attached spa and so on and so forth. That really automates the process and makes it easy for the agent to create a brochure, a better brochure in less time than before. What about you, Kamal?
Yeah, thank you, Leandro. Yeah, completely agree with you and Todd. Quickly, just we are shortage of time here. So actually, we are in the very beginning of the AI adoption in terms of PropTech domain. There is a long way to go, and I have seen OpenAI related integrations happening in some of the PropTechs, just to take textual feed and give the results instead of filtering and keyword searching kind of thing, and recommendations, news feeds, increasing the relativity, all those kind of ranking, those kind of things. So that's where AI is adopted currently. But there is a long way to go. There are so many areas where AI can chip in and help and enhance and give the best quality results for the in the complete life cycle of PropTech buying to selling kind of thing. Yeah.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. We had every intention of answering some questions. However, for sake of time and the fact that this platform will cut us off at 60 minutes, we can't get to those, but we will answer those within 2 business days to the email address you used to register for the webinar. And as mentioned earlier, this webinar was recorded and will be sent to you the following business days. I just want to thank you, everyone, for joining us, and of course to Kamal, Leonardo, and Todd for being a part of this webinar. Truly appreciate it. Just closing thoughts, please visit our website at attomdata.com for more information on Atom and to keep up to date on the housing market as well as the current climate of the market. Thank you all so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Jennifer.
you. Thanks, Jennifer.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye.